Good evening. I think we're just about ready to get started. I'm Lauren Friedman, and I am First Vice President of the League of Women Voters, Seattle-King County. And on behalf of the League and Wesley Des Moines, I'd like to welcome you to the Des Moines City Council Candidate Forum. I would also like to introduce some of the other League folks who are here and who have been instrumental in this forum and the two others that we have done. And first, Vicki Rudin, if you'd stand up. She is here at Wesley Des Moines and is instrumental in putting this one together. Meg Van Wyk, who has been instrumental in all three. And Barbara Erickson, who has come all the way from up north to help us out. And now I would like to turn things over to our moderator, Kathy Jorgensen.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Kathy Jorgensen, and I'll be moderating this evening's forum with the candidates for the Des Moines City Council. Our timers this evening are Barbara Erickson and Meg Van Wyk. They will hold up cards. Timers, raise your cards, to help speakers stay within their time limits. It is the League of Women Voters policy to not allow any video or audio recording of our forums unless it has been authorized in advance by the League. Our videographer, Tim Ryan, is recording this event. We have a link to the recording on the League's website. We will have a link to the recording on the League's website within the next few days, and on Wesley's own channel 370. Videos of other League forums are available on the League website, which is www.lwvskc.org. Other forums are also available for viewing on the website. Let me say a quick word about the League of Women Voters. The League is a national, nonpartisan, nonprofit political organization whose purpose is to promote the informed and active participation of citizens in government. Our goal for tonight's forum is to provide city residents with the information which will help them be informed and knowledgeable voters. The League does not endorse candidates. It does have positions on issues, and such positions are reached after study and consensus. You can find more information about the League on the membership tables at both sides of this auditorium. Okay, does anybody need an agenda? Okay. And now I will ask you to turn off your cell phone, and including phone cameras and any other devices that might make interrupting noises. The League of Women Voters is committed to fostering civility in public discourse. Civility begins with openness to listening to points of view that may be different from your own, and respect for others' rights to hold opinions that differ from ours. With that in mind, we ask everyone to be respectful of the candidates, our timers, and other volunteers. Please remain silent unless you've been recognized to ask your question, and hold your applause to the end. Restrooms are out the door to my right and then down the hall to my right. And in case of an emergency where we need to evacuate, use the doors on the left. Now I will read a land acknowledgement. The City of Des Moines occupies the ancestral, traditional, and contemporary lands of the Coast Salish people, specifically the Muckleshoot, Duwamish, and Puyallup tribes. These tribes were sustained by these lands and these waters long before the contact with colonization. We further recognize the ongoing relationship of dependence upon and respect for all living beings on earth, sky, and water. In offering this land acknowledgement, we affirm Indigenous sovereignty, history, and experience. Now, on to our panel of candidates. The Des Moines City Council consists of 7 members elected in staggered years for 4-year terms. City Council members establish city policies and laws, adopt an annual budget, approve appropriations, contract for services, and grant franchises. All council members are at large, meaning that they serve the city as a whole as opposed to a specific district. These seats are up for election this year, positions 2, 4, and 6. We invited all 5 candidates to participate in the forum, and they are all here. In order of their position number, we'll ask each candidate to make an opening statement of no more than 3 minutes. Following the opening remarks, it's your turn for audience members to pose questions of the candidates. I ask that the questions be directed to an issue that is likely to come before the City Council. You'll have 30 seconds to ask your question, and the candidates will have 1 minute to answer. I'll then offer each candidate the opportunity for a rebuttal. Rebuttals must be no longer than 1 minute. Please keep these time limits in mind and keep your eye on the timers so you'll know when your time is up. League volunteers have index cards and pencils for you so you can write down your questions in advance if you would like. Raise your hand if you would like a card. Okay. We've given everyone in the audience a chance. We'll give everyone in the audience a chance to ask questions before taking any follow-up questions or multiple questions from the same person. We'll then give each candidate 1 minute for closing remarks, and this will happen in the reverse order from their opening statement. Candidates, we'll ask you to introduce yourself in your 3 minute or less opening statement. We hope you might tell us why you are running for office, your qualifications to be on the City Council, and your goals for this coming term of office. Let me remind you again, candidates, to keep your eye on the timers so you can gauge your time as you speak. And we will begin, starting right next to me, Mr. J.C. Harris. Your opening remarks, please. Okay. Oh, yes.
Thank you for doing it for me. So my name is J.C. Harris, and I do sit down. I'm tired. Okay, we can't have that. So my name is J.C. Harris, and I serve as council member, position 2. I attended my first city council meeting in 2008, and I'm that guy who just kept going. And over the years, I would hear a story on various issues that the city wanted to tell about itself, and I would think to myself walking home, maybe that's not exactly true. But, you know, I was in the room. My opponent to my left served from 2016 to 2019, and there was like no debate. Every vote was like 7-0, 7-0, 7-0. Another fellow started showing up, and he saw it, and so he had a t-shirt made that read the 7-0 Club. And it was sort of a joke, but it wasn't funny because that really was decision-making, including hiring the current city manager. So when I ran for office, I decided to model the kind of public outreach that I would want. I knocked on over 6,000 doors. I put up a website with all of the public documents and explainers for what I had been seeing over the years. So I got on the council, and you know, I'm often the odd man out. It doesn't mean that the ideas are necessarily bad. It means that basically every idea can be improved with more discussion, debate, and compromise. That still, you know, we need some work there. But the good news is that more and more residents are showing up, including one engineer who lives here who just tore various aspects of the marina proposal to shreds. It was wonderful, okay? Because when the public does show up, the council does listen. And so this election could not be simpler. we're either going to continue that process of more information, more public engagement, greater accountability, or we're going to go back to 2016 and the 7-0 club. Thank you.
So you win. Go. Hey, thank you League of Women Voters for doing this. Thank you Wesley for hosting. I want to say hello to some of the folks from Judson Park who were able to make it. They were trying to do their own candidate forum and they just couldn't put it together in time. So a local business, Customized Tours and Shuttle Service, I reached out to them and they provided a free shuttle service to bring some visitors over. So for all of you that are not a part of Wesley, welcome. My name's Rob Back. I've been a part of Des Moines for 44 years. I'm a business owner and a property owner. This is an interesting election because you've got two people right here. Both of us have served on the council for 4 years. Currently, I'm the challenger. Mr. Harris is the incumbent. I did not seek any endorsements from any politicians. I wanted to run my own race. There was one endorsement that meant a lot to me, though, and that's from our Des Moines Police Guild. I am very big on the public safety. When they heard that I was going to run against J.C. Harris, they asked if I would receive their endorsement, and I said I would be proud to. So thank you for that. I want to speak about my 4 years in office. When I was sworn in January 2016, the new council had convened, and we were faced with two huge issues. At that very first meeting that I was a council member, our city manager announced that he was going to retire. And number two, many of you may not know, our city was on the verge of bankruptcy. We almost disincorporated as a city. There was talk in town about possibly annexing part of it into Federal Way, part into Burien, maybe SeaTac or Kent would want some, but we were in terrible financial condition. The first goal was getting a new city manager. We convened, we had a big candidate selection process nationwide. We got the community involved, City Hall involved. We did choose on a city manager who was not my first choice, but I had to work with him, and he's done a good job in my opinion. As far as our finances, it was a rough go for about 1.5 years, but the council that I was a part of, this is what I helped to achieve. We had consistently sustainable and solvent city budgets with appropriate contingencies. We were able to raise our legal contingency funding that exceeds national standards due to our actions. We earned a significant bond rating upgrade from the Standard & Poor's as well as Moody's. We saved the city over $500,000 through these bond upgrades by refinancing other projects. Now we're able to refinance other bonds as well for infrastructure. We gave significant increases for police and public safety, significant increases for human services. Most notably, we received our state auditor's report giving us a clean bill of health for the first time in many years. While I was your councilman, I also served on the board of directors for SCORE Jail. I did this for 3 years. SCORE Jail is owned by 7 cities. It was built in 2011, but the city of Des Moines was not part of the credit application process because our finances were in such bad shape. After we turned our financial situation around, I proposed that I gotta stop now. Our city refinanced to jail. We got a lower house payment, and we're in way better financial shape than we are now. I'll have more to say later. Thank you.
Thank you for being here this evening. My name is Jeremy Nutty, and I am your council member, position number 4. I've been your council member for the last 10 years. And in those 10 years, we were facing bankruptcy when I first got on council, and we've created a sustainable budget through the foreseeable future. Also, we've added police officers and a canine unit, which I'm proud to say that my family and I put on a gala mixer to raise the funds for the canine unit and managed to get the money for the unit and the officer. We've taken and one-time funds being used for one-time projects. Also, we've used our partnerships with jurisdictional partnerships for projects in Redondo and the marina. I've worked with businesses to get them opened and to the finish line, and work with the developers to get their projects through the red tape and working. We've added parks. which I've helped with, Mary Gay, Overlook, and one park that's near and dear to my heart, Midway, which my family and I have barbecued for National Night Out and helped an underserved, underprivileged community throughout the years. I've also helped with the historic buildings. We've redone the picnic shelter in the beach park, and I rolled up my sleeves and helped out with the dining hall and did all the demolition and got it ready for the restoration. I'm the only council member that has children in Highline Public Schools. With that, I offer a different perspective on how we can work with other partnerships with the Highline Public Schools. I'm in construction, which gives me a hand up looking over contracts and our ability to help out throughout the city with our new projects, including the marina, Redondo, and the paid parking. And that's all I have tonight.
Good evening. My name is Christy. I am running for City Council, position number 4. First of all, thank you all for being here. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity of doing this. I am local. I was born in Burien General Hospital, now St. Anne's. My mom was an RN there. My dad was an aerospace engineer at Boeing. We moved to Normandy Park in '71. I watched the marina go in. I know where the marina is now. While living in Normandy Park, I also had my best friends, Shelley Satterberg, Susie Christie, and my uncle was James Dorr. So I was growing up as they were going through school. So Dan was going to school as a lawyer, David was going to school as a lawyer, actually pretty much the whole clan was going to school as a lawyer as their parents were. So you guys might know Dan Satterberg as the King County prosecutor. That's who I grew up with. David Christie, Burien judge, just retired, and Judge James Dorr, like I said, King County Superior Court Justice. What a lot of people don't recognize is that not only do they take care of the parks and everything, they also write the laws. The laws that the police use to arrest people, and the laws that the judges use to rule upon. And it's important that they know that as well. I've been in construction since I was 5 years old. I'm not going to say I was great at 5, no, just a little kid. But I'm 57 years old now, and I've owned my own plumbing company and had 53,000 clients. I know a little bit about construction. The thing about my dad was that he grew up in Gary, Indiana, as did my mom. Dad grew up on the wrong side of the tracks, as they would say. It was 3/4 black, 1/4 mixed. Mom grew up on what they call white bread. And they met at Kroger's. I joke that I'm the product of Kroger's because of that. But with that, I learned in more of a Pollyanna kind of way that people are people. It doesn't matter what color, what culture, what religion. I keep it akin to, it's like different colored puppies in the same litter. They're not different. People are different. It's not because of who or what their religion is, their colors, or anything else. I'm really proud to say that our governor just put into place initiatives so that we have languages in various different languages to vote, including Braille. Thank you.
Thank you so much. My name is Yoshiko Grace Matsui. I am running for position number 6 here in Des Moines City Council, and there's The table stops right here because I am running unopposed, and there is not another candidate. Your eyes are not deceiving you. But I wanted to take the opportunity to come meet with you today and also to field any questions that you may have of me, because I'm a strong proponent of making sure that we have a very informed elector group, base of voters who are involved in city issues, civic issues. And so I want to say thanks to all of you participants who are here. I can see folks who live in the Marina District. I can see folks who live in Lower Woodmont, Upper Woodmont. I can see Redondo folks scattered throughout the crowd there. So thank you very much for being here. I moved into Des Moines in 2007. I had previously been working and living in Tacoma, and my apartment building was going condo, because I don't know if you're familiar with Tacoma, but every 5 years or so, it's gonna have a renaissance, and it's gonna be the hottest new place for people to move. And so 2 of my apartment buildings were converted into condos, and I had to move twice. And my dad was also looking for housing at that time, and we decided to split the difference, a true midway story. He was working in Seattle, I was working in Tacoma. Well, I had a bit of an advantage because my sister Catherine already lived in Des Moines. So she married a man who went to Mount Rainier High School, and she lived up here on North Hill. And so she knew that I was looking for a place to live, and said, you know, I think my neighbors are moving. And I said, really? Why do you think that? And she said, well, they pressure washed their garage. And I thought, well, never doubt your older sister. So the next time I was over there, I walked up and knocked on the door and said, hi, I'm Yoshiko. I would like to buy your house. And they said yes. North Hill has been a fabulous home for me. I got to watch my nieces grow up there. I got more involved when I was elected to the King County Water District 54 Board of Commissioners in 2015. And that really gives you a front row to politics in Des Moines. If you don't know, sometimes those utilities, they know when permits go in, they know when projects are on the horizon, and they are one of the ways that I got introduced to the ongoings and learned about even the new construction that was happening here at Wesley. I've been a strong proponent of public service my whole life. I work at the City of Seattle in the Human Resources Department, and prior to that I worked in colleges and universities for about 12 years or so in student activities. I'm glad to be here. Thank you very much, and I hope to get some of your questions on those cards. Oh, I get to keep it.
Okay, I'm going to ask the first question, and then we will take questions from the audience. And so we'll pass the mic this way. And my question is, what ways can Des Moines residents be kept informed without a local newspaper? 1 minute, please.
Gosh, that's tough to answer in 1 minute. I would say that right now, in an age of social media, people are getting news in a variety of ways. They can get it online on our wonderful blog, they can get it through city postings on their website or Facebook, but there are many more groups of people who get their news from TikTok or from Instagram even, and I'd like to see a broader array of messages that go out in those formats, because you're missing the folks in the demographics that perhaps don't read Facebook anymore. And that's one way, without a newspaper, to blanket your population and hope that one of those channels, so if you have your neighborhood blog, you have city publications, you have social media accounts, that will cover as much of the base as you possibly can. But it takes a little more effort here because of our lack of newspaper.
Well, if you haven't seen JC's blog, that's a gentleman who happens to have digital form of our historical records, and he does a really good job of writing. Sure, you might not like his homily, so to speak, but that's all right. And I'm also starting my campaign website so that it will have the stuff as well. Different than his, because no reason to repeat. So when I have it up, which should be up in the next week, I want you guys to check it out. You'll find out more information about me, and it's going to be interactive. So if you guys have questions or statements or whatever that you want addressed, send it to me. I want your voice heard. Thank you.
Thank you. I think in the day and age that we live in, with social media is the biggest way to get the word out. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. We do have the City Currents, a magazine that goes out. Yes, it's a challenge to get the information to all the people. At the same time, I mean, we've got 32,000 people in Des Moines, and it's a challenge, and it's something that we face day to day. So
I would concur with that. I remember when we had the Des Moines newspaper back in the 80s, and it was a good source. It was a weekly paper that came out for people to be informed. Our Waterland blog does help. That's probably the best source of news, in my opinion. Social media outlets are obviously a good way, but I hear there's a Wesley cable channel that you guys have, so I wish there was a specific to Wesley, something on your channel that gave ongoing news, including what's in the City Currents. Most importantly, our Citizen Advisory Committee, which I was part of forming, that represents the 9 different neighborhoods, so a lot of news and information needs to get out from individuals to their prospective neighborhoods. I would highly recommend that. I'm not in favor of a sitting council member having their own website to get the news out, because that can be very skewed. Thank you.
The answer is the city should develop its own phone app. It is my belief that basically every human being, well, pretty much from about 9 up to 90, has a phone. And we can provide an app that will allow them to perform all of their bill pay, provide a calendar of any events that we have, to provide news. It's just a fact that most of you, the vast majority of you, interact with the world via your phone, whether you prefer print or not. And the bonus is that this would enable us to reach almost the entirety of the population in the event of an emergency situation. And that is my primary concern. Again, we should have a phone app. It's the one commonality to every person in this town. Thank you.
Okay, would anybody like to rebut the remarks that were just made? Okay, no. So, audience members, if you have a question, please raise your hand, and a league member will come around with a microphone for you to identify yourself and read your question. So I saw a question a few rows back.
We didn't have to write on the card, you just say and ask a question.
Okay, initially, everyone was going to come up.
Good evening, thank you all for coming. My name is Matthew Renner. Some of you might be familiar with me. My question comes basically from this. There are people who I love and care for who live in Des Moines who are either seriously considering or have already committed to moving out. The reasons can be summed up in 2 ways. One, quality of living is going down, i.e. crime and other things, and the cost of living, i.e. taxes, is going up. How are you as council members going to directly and indirectly going to rectify that situation?
Okay, we'll start the answers with Mr. Back.
How many minutes? 1?
1.
So as far as my priorities, I have 3. Public safety, public safety, public safety. If we don't have a community that feels safe, then we have lost all sense of community. When people are trapped indoors, it's not right. I might be just a one-trick pony, that's my only concern, but when I was on the council, I did so many ride-alongs with our police officers to see what they were facing and what their needs were, so I'm all about supporting our police. While I was on the council, I was part responsible for creating a fully staffed police department for the first time in 15 years. We've also got a two higher head officer in training program as well, so as far as taxes, I don't like paying them as much as you do, sir. So, but I'm all about public safety. Thank you.
That's a great question. A lot of the taxes don't come from the city side of things, come from the state side of things, and there's not much we can do about that. I do a lot of ride-alongs with our police officers, and we're one of the safer cities in this area. Calls for service, I mean, we've got to get our sister cities, the north, SeaTac, to the south, Federal Way, to help with the crime. We move everybody from Des Moines into those other cities and they do nothing about it. And we also got to get our legislatures to allow us to prosecute for the crimes that are going on. Prosecuting or releasing within 24 hours a criminal that needs to be prosecuted and a slap on the wrist. We need help from the legislature and the state. Thank you.
I actually reached out to Mothers for Gun Sense, or Moms for Gun Sense, which is part of everycity.org. They actually have programs that they provide for the mayor so that it can be implemented in the various different areas to cut down on gun violence, so that we still have the guns, but there's common sense answers on how to take care of that. Taxes, I won't raise them. It's like, I want to take care of the Masonic retirement home, and people go, how are you going to do that? I go, well, I want to make it a naturopathic university, and with doing that, you have the students who are paying their tuition that pays, and the people who are treated that pays, and I've just been trying to get the rest of the pieces together so that I can actually accomplish that and get it from Mr. Corliss. Thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate the question. I am also a strong proponent of public safety and just the feeling of health and well-being in our community in general. I work at the City of Seattle and Department of Human Resources, and I am part of the police and fire examination unit. And so actually my job is to help recruit and do testing, promotional entry level for police officers and firefighters. So I'm acutely aware of some of the challenges that we have in recruiting and retaining some of our police officers, not so much here in Des Moines, but nationally. And I do believe that we need to seek stabilized funding, not just one-time money for our police officers. And I do think that if we were to approach voters and ask if they were willing to pay more to secure those services, they might say yes. I would love to hear more of your all's perspectives about that. But we must up and do what we can, whether it's focusing on community risk reduction measures, revitalizing and really empowering our neighborhood watch program, and things like that. Thank you.
Thank you. 2007, we had a dozen more police officers than we have today. Remember I said that I'd walk home from these meetings and I would go, maybe that's not exactly, because the council said in 2019 that we're fully staffed. We're not fully staffed. I remember when we were fully staffed. And when you have more police officers, you can have that presence on your street. You can have any amount of tech you want, but there is nothing that makes people feel safer and that makes just the whole neighborhood uplift when you have a police officer on your street. And that should be our goal. Full stop. Sustainable revenue, not this one-time money stuff, which we were supposed to have been done with years ago when we turned the budget around. Yeah.
Okay, any rebuttals to any of the answers?
I will rebut that. Mr. Harris says we're not fully staffed. I just spoke with our police chief 1 week ago at the Coffee with a Cop at Highline College. He said we are fully staffed with the exception of one recent retirement, and they're making a decision whether they're going to bring in a new recruit or do a lateral transfer from another department, so they're looking at that. Our police department's doing well. That's my rebuttal.
Any other rebuttals? Okay. Next question from the audience, please. There's a question in the back corner.
My name is Sandra Mock, and I'm a local realtor. And I would have to say, by and large, when I'm helping a family move out of here, it's because of the airline highway overhead and the health effects that they're experiencing or their children are experiencing. What do you plan to do about holding the port responsible for the noise and the pollution that is raining down on us?
We'll start with Mr. Nutting.
That's a great question, thank you. As you guys know, the port has just as much authority as a city does. And with that being said, as a council member, I will continue to work with the port to mitigate those issues and with the state to look at the siting of a second international airport to help the traffic go down. And I appreciate Quiet Skies for all the work that they've done, and that's all I have.
Well, being that I'm new, I don't know specifically what else has been going on, except for I do know that that's been JC's pet project since before he got on the council. So what I can say is I'm only taking care of my mom and my dog. So I have nothing but time to do the research on that. And being trained by lawyers, I know where to get the resources, who to talk to, and get you those answers and implement them. Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Sandra. I really appreciate it. The truth of the matter is that there are mitigation dollars available to the city if we were to go after them. The city of SeaTac has gotten millions of dollars in mitigation, including funding for our new community center. But we do not have that type of relationship with the port. We would rather look to the port as a business partner. And so you can't go and ask your business partner to give you money for noise reduction, pollution reduction, if you're courting them for major purchases in your city. It seems to me that that would be a conflict of interest.
The city of Des Moines is captured by the Port of Seattle. It's as simple as that. We spent a ton of money fighting this thing called a third runway project. And basically every government since then has had this idea of trying to partner with the port on various economic projects, and somehow it will redound to a gold mine. And a good example is the Des Moines Creek Business Park and the FAA building, which are tax exempt. So they look nice, but they bring in nothing to the city. And now we have so little money, we can't even fight back in a constructive fashion. So go to ctacnoise.info to learn more, because it's about to get a lot worse Gang?
Yeah, I also remember the Stop the Third Runway campaign, and what a waste of money. We're not going to stop that from happening. The airport is getting worse and worse. Sandra, thanks for the question. I don't like the jet noise. However, I chose to live here because I wanted to live near an international airport. I also, because of the jet noise, property values are lower, and I've been able to invest in several rental properties because of that. So I'm trying to work it for my game, but I don't like this whole jet noise issue. It's just, it is nonstop. So last thing, while I was on council, I did speak before the Senate Transportation Committee on Senate Bill 5370 that was sponsored by Karen Kaiser to address the idea of getting a committee together to cite the location for another airport because we can't keep growing here. Thank you.
Thank you. Any rebuttals?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you take away nothing else, a second airport will provide absolutely no reduction in a single flight or any amount of noise or any pollution from this airport ever. Ever. They will just keep filling up and filling up and filling up. And if you care about the pollution, as I do, and the noise, go to ctacnoise.info, and I'll tell you what Mr. Back was referring to is what they call the airport discount. Essentially, you are getting a small amount of lower property taxes in exchange for taking years off your life and that of your children. It's no joke. The health impacts of the long-term exposure to your children who go to our schools are permanent. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Next question. Okay, there's one in the back on my left.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm Diane Collier. I'm interested in what your policy is at the moment, particularly those of you who are current council members, on the question of unhoused persons. I don't know what the city policy is, but certainly it is a growing problem, and it will be an issue that all of you need to deal with in the coming years. Are there policies in place for those organizations that are willing to do some help in that area? Thank you.
Okay, we'll start with Ms. Puzos.
Interesting that you picked me. Thank you. I have been homeless 3 times. I've actually worked with the people like Angeline's Hospitality House, etc. I've lived there. I know what their rules and regulations are and where their loopholes are and then where they're going wrong. I have been trying to help with that before I started running. So I don't know the specifics of what the city has in place, but I know that I can help, and I've even already asked Adam Smith if I would be able to. So there you go. Try it.
Thank you. Well, I think that there are many things that are so wrapped up and so complex about our current situation around the unhoused. I would say that my personal belief is that there is this conventional wisdom that's turned out to be false, that many people believe that unhoused people come from somewhere else. But really, they choose to be in a place because they're usually from that place. And I think as a volunteer long-term here at the food bank, I've come to recognize that there are many folks who live in this area who are unhoused or on the verge of becoming unhoused, or perhaps live in their cars, who want to stay here because they are from here. And so we must look at what ways we can provide services to people who are members of our own community, whether that's shelter during severe weather events, whether that's some sort of wraparound services to make sure that they get into a treatment or housing that they would like to, and use some sort of third level of response. If it doesn't require a police officer engagement, then there should be some other resource that can go.
Thank you. So as with so many things, it comes down to money. I wanted to point out that the city of SeaTac, this is one of those airport things that people don't connect with always, but the city of SeaTac gets $1.4 million a year in a public safety account. And they can use it for any number of services related to sex trafficking and people who are on the street. We get ZIP. So we do something very nice. We'll give a few $1,000s a year to various programs, and that will help 3-4 people, which is wonderful. But that's not $1.4 million. The other thing I want to say about it is that I want people to make a distinction between the different types of people who are unhoused. I don't like this idea that we tend to lump everybody together, despite the fact that they have many different needs. Thank you.
On a personal level, I have actually opened my home to 5 different homeless people in the last 20 years. I did this on my own time, but these were people that I didn't just find under the bridge at the freeway. They were referred to me by various recovery groups that I volunteered with. Out of the 5 people that I tried to help in the last 20 years, only 1 was a success story. The other 4 didn't want to get clean, they didn't want to work, and they made that choice. It was kind of disappointing. As far as what a government can do to help, we need help on the state level. The county hasn't done a whole lot. My personal belief is it's going to take some partnerships with the faith-based organization because they've got a heart to help, but they've got to do it within city parameter. The city of Burien had 4 or 5 churches that tried to create a program to help homeless people, and the city had to shut it down because they didn't work together. So I would rely on the faith-based group to help us, as well as help from the state level. That's my opinion. Thank you.
It's a great question. The city council, since I've been on, has addressed camping bans and public safety issues along with the housing of homeless. When it comes to the homeless, my take on it is the state continues to take funds away and cancel programs for housing the homeless. It's hard with a small city of ours to tackle such a big problem. We need more help from our legislatures and from the state to get us the programs that we need. We have 2 mental health specialist positions in the police department, so our officers don't have to respond to anybody in crisis, and they also are equipped, our officers are equipped with pamphlets to direct our homeless in the right direction to get them help. Thank you.
Any rebuttals? Okay, next question. Okay, 3rd row back on my left.
Okay, no standing at all. So my name's Louisa Bangs. I'm a former city council member. And I have read on the blog those candidates that are running. I'm looking forward to reading the rest from the other 3 once they answer the 10 questions. So I want to understand from the revenue perspective how we're hearing that we don't have revenue, but we do have revenue. We don't have economic development, but we do have economic development. I'd like each and every one of you to explain the revenue piece and how you propose to get our economic development moving.
We'll start with Ms. Matsui.
Well, Well, I think that in response to your question, the unevenness comes from what we are currently relying on, which is the federal ARPA money that will be expiring. And so if there is a high of revenue that's coming in right now, there will be a low when those revenues expire. On the other hand, the cost of inflation continues to grow up, and as the gentleman behind you said, our property taxes continue to go up, but we're not recognizing or receiving many of the services that I think citizens are interested in. And so I believe that economic development is a tremendous challenge. We have a population here that needs services, and we are looking for revenue streams to gain them. One way would be to encourage more business in Des Moines, which would bring us that B&O tax. But I would also challenge us to think, what do we want as a citizen and resident here that we would be willing to pay for? Because if you were to say, I want more parks, I want more police, I want more streets, I want more potholes filled, that costs money. So where would we get that money from? Ultimately, you will need to decide.
So I used to own a small restaurant, and I just grieve for the state of our local restaurants here. They work so hard, and they don't get the support they deserve to thrive. And I care about that as a member of the city council because we need that revenue. Okay, it's in everybody's best interest to have a thriving downtown. It is not optional. Okay. The other thing is, my father-in-law used to have a thing. He'd tell me, when you waste $1, you're really wasting 2. It's the dollar you waste, and then it's the dollar you don't have to do something good. And I'll give a couple examples later on. But if we spent money a little bit better, we'd have a whole lot of other options. Thanks.
Yeah, this has been a challenge for a long time. Des Moines doesn't have a lot of huge businesses. We've got no big box stores. We have no major car dealerships. We have a lot of little shops. I have longed to see another grocery store right where the Dollar Tree is someday. But the QFC that was there, the Albertsons before, they couldn't make it. You had a full-service grocery store with a bakery, a meat department, a produce department, a dairy. They had a deli, they had a wine shop. And you can't have a full-service grocery store when the average shopper is only buying 3 items, a newspaper, a cup of coffee, or a 6-pack. And so you have a full-service grocery store that's being used like a convenience store. That's not sustainable for them. So I'm not surprised QFC closed. So when I was on the council, I personally reached out to Trader Joe's because I thought that would be an ideal place for a Trader Joe's, but they said it would not increase their market share. Most of the Burien people and Federal Way people would just transfer here, but they would unlikely have any new customers from that. So it's a challenge. Thank you.
Thank you, Louisa, for the question. The budget part of things, we're solving it through the next 5 years. Yes, there are some ARPA funds, but those will be dealt with in the coming years. We're totally solvent. We've added to our reserves. We're looking good there. As it comes to economic development, we have a lot of deadbeat building owners in town that refuse to do any upgrades or refuse to change their buildings, change the facade, do anything to help create the economic development. As the chair of the Economic Development Committee, we're doing everything we can to get businesses here. With the building of the light rail up on the highway, we have some opportunities up there. Thank you.
Well, like I was saying, with Governor Inslee signing initiatives, part of that was the various languages so that people could have their businesses, and they'd have instructions to start the business. They would have actually a hand up in doing what they did say in their own country that they already were good at, that they wanted to do here, but they didn't have the opportunity. Buildings. With the Masonic Retirement Home back as it was supposed to be, where it's actually for the people, that's our castle on the hill. Down below, we can have it very much like Europe. Our density is going to get more, and if you've gone to Europe, you know that the lower level is the store and the upper level is residency. How high we go would depend upon how high the city would allow it without bothering too many residents. I can go on, but I passed the mic.
To keep track. Okay, next, any rebuttals? Okay, no. Next question from the audience, please.
I'm Bob Catton, and I am going to physical therapy, to the Highline Physical Therapy on 226 in Pacific Highway. And I've been walking up there from here, and it's 1.8 miles, Google says. And from 220th to 226, 56 in an entrance, I think, the highway, all the properties along that are there, and
What was the question? Is it about the sidewalk safety?
no, it's about the railing that's there to keep people at the bus stop, to keep people falling down about 10 feet. The whole railing is gone, and there's clutter everywhere. And people driving down Pacific Highway South, they have to stop for a traffic light. All they're looking at is a bunch of junk on the parking strip.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if you can't contact the judges, and when they have people that are going to get a fine for speeding or something,
Okay, so.
can't they just have them clean it up?
Okay, so it's about cleanup of the bus stop and pedestrian safety and bus stop safety. Okay. I believe we're starting with Mr. Nutting this time.
Thank you for the question. Although the bus stop is in the city of Des Moines, it falls on King County Metro to maintain those bus stops. Our officers have boarded Metro buses when there's been a crisis on board. And depending on who is in charge of maintaining the highway, it could be Kent or SeaTac. But it's not on the city of Des Moines to maintain the center median or those bus stops. So there's not much other than trying to work with all our partners to get those cleaned up, and putting, I guess, for lack of a better term, our thumb in the middle of their foreheads to get it done. Then that's all we can do.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, yeah, I'm during the headlights right now. Well, I walk it too. I don't know what they have in place, so since I'm the new one, I don't know how to answer that one. I know what I would do, but I'm gonna have to check to see what they have. One of the first things I wanna do is, because so many people keep saying that they're corrupt and all, I actually want to go over the books to find out, are they? Are they not? What's wrong? What's the big problem that is going on, so we know how to address it?
Thank you. It is a tough question because, like someone said earlier, the highway is multi-jurisdictional. There are many folks that if you're standing on one corner, you could be in Kent. If you're standing on another corner, you may be in Des Moines. And in fact, if you walk down Pacific Highway south of Kent Des Moines Road, it might change block to block. And so it requires us to have some sort of partnerships around maintenance or nuisance issues with Kent and other jurisdictions as well. I do believe, and where I've seen citizens and residents really make a difference, is when they come together to do a cleanup day. We've seen Destination Des Moines do that in our downtown core, and we've seen individuals go up to the highway and pick up litter and do some beautification on their own as well. And I think it makes a difference in terms of civic pride. Everyone wants to live in a beautiful place, and it's one of those things that could foster some involvement. If there was a group of folks that wanted to get involved from their Citizens Advisory Committee to host a cleanup day, I think people would join in. And it may take something like that to really make a difference and make a dent in that one area. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate that Councilmember Nutting doesn't try to oversell because it is multi-jurisdictional and, but the public does not care at a certain point. They tend to see everything as either finger pointing or that we're surrendering. A couple of years ago, the city of SeaTac, there's a regular Department of Ecology grant where they will pay professionals to do cleanup along highways and roads that are particularly dangerous. It's thrilling when residents, put on a vest and do neighborhood cleanups, but things like Pacific Highway are, they're challenging, they're dangerous, and if we can get a state grant to do that kind of work, we should do it. So when the next cycle comes up in 2024, I sure hope we apply for it. Thank you.
So the way I understood the question is kind of a two-part thing. We do have a code enforcement department that does their best to try to get private property owners to clean up their act if there's a huge amount of garbage and junk. As far as the dangerous railing, that's where I would either refer folks or do it myself to reach out to our public works. They've got a fix-it form we could do, even online. And so if there's something that is a liability to the city, we've got a public works department that will get right on that right away. In general, sidewalks, all of that, I would love our city to be more pedestrian friendly. I'm extremely concerned about Kent Des Moines Road. We've got all that multifamily housing and no sidewalks and some very, very narrow shoulders with rockeries nearby, and boy, after dark, that is very dangerous. So I wish our city was more pedestrian friendly. And be safe, sir. Thank you.
Okay, any rebuttals? Okay, next question from the audience, please. Okay, third row on my left.
Good evening. My name is Nadia Curtis, and I attend council on a regular basis. So I see the no vote in person. This question is for Council Member Harris. You voted no twice on the Sky Bridge, a safety and infrastructure item. Can you explain why? And this was after the city spent $16 million on the infrastructure for Wesley.
Point of order was, so the question was directed at Mr. Harris. Should he be the first to answer, or do you want to go by?
Let's continue. How we've been doing it, and so the first one to answer would be Ms. Bouzas.
I'll be honest, I have no idea.
Yeah, I will yield my time to Councilmember Harris. I don't claim to know the reason for his vote, but I do believe that all council members should vote their conscience.
I voted no for a couple of reasons. One, it's an easement, and with easements, we should be compensated. I felt that it was, first of all, a gift, and that's money that could be spent better elsewhere. I do not believe that the city should be in the business of subsidizing Wesley. I support Wesley as much as any person, and in fact, my family moved here because of friends who live at Wesley. But we should not be giving away that kind of benefit. And more than that, I believe that it detracts from the beauty of the city. It's as simple as that. The city looks much better without the Sky Bridge. That's it.
I'm disappointed with that reply. Where our city hall is located, that was property given to us by Wesley. Our city hall is on former Wesley property, and I mean, we have been a partner with Wesley since we incorporated as a city. So anything we could do to help bring that campus on that side of 216th and this side together, I want to bring community together. This is a public safety issue, ladies and gentlemen. There have been fatalities on South 216th, and elderly folks and walkers having a hard time getting across the street. We need to provide safe crossage across 216th. He had thrown out the idea maybe we should just do a tunnel if they want to get back and forth. That is inappropriate. When I was on the council, I was highly in favor of that Sky Bridge being built. I saw it as a public safety benefit and a unifying aspect to this Wesley community. So I was appalled when I heard that he voted against that. That concludes my remark.
Thank you. All I can say is that Wesley's been a great partner throughout the years. I've enjoyed working with them on my 10 years on council, and it's a safety issue. It was, I didn't even give it a second thought when I voted for it, for you residents here at Wesley.
Okay, any rebuttals? Okay, would you pass the mic this way, please?
Indeed, I propose that it be undergrounded. And I want to point out that Wesley is tax exempt. And I moved here to raise a family. And if we do not provide the revenues to support our budget, we basically box out that next generation of families. So every time we give gifts to a tax-exempt organization, it comes at the expense of that next generation. And frankly, that has to be my primary consideration. As much as I love Wesley and support senior living facilities in Des Moines.
Any further rebuttals? Okay, Mr. Bauer.
I'll just add also, when this was in the planning stage as well, I was on council, the idea has been floated out there that after this Sky Bridge is built, perhaps the city could put some kind of moving scale language signage to announce community events. And if we want to put a big sign up there, Wesley's going to give that to us at no charge either. So it's a partnership. We're working together. I think this Sky Bridge is going to be a huge benefit for this community. That's all. Thank you.
Any more comments or rebuttals? Okay. Next question from the audience. There's a hand up in the back. Sir, I believe this is your second question, but given that there's no, there's one in the front, second row.
What is the neighborhood blog and what is the Waterland blog? I don't know what those are.
Okay, we'll start with Ms. Matsui.
I'm probably the one who said neighborhood blog. The neighborhood blog I'm referring to is actually the Waterland blog, which is what is considered like a micro news site that is run here in South King County and is a fantastic resource for residents, covers local events. We have opportunity for op-ed pieces, advertisement. And so if folks want to go to the blog, does someone want to yell out the address?
Waterlandblog.com.
Waterlandblog.com. Easy to remember.
Waterlandblog.com. Thank you, Scott Schaefer. And just one other thing is that, you know, a lot of media outlets charge candidates for any kind of press. Scott offers candidates not one, but 2 freebies. And it's a tremendous value to the community. So thank you, Mr. Schaefer.
Yeah, it's a good source of news. Like I said earlier, back in the day, we had the Des Moines News. It was run by Robinson Newspaper. I knew Jerry Robinson, who lived on 3 Tree Point. His sons took it over later. And the business of hard copy newspaper, it just wasn't penciling out. So everything's going online, just like instead of buying a hard book, everybody's reading their books online, it seems. But yeah, Waterland Blog, Scott Schaefer, he runs South King Media is the name of the organization. So they actually provide blogs for, I believe it's Burien, SeaTac. I'm giving you some good press coverage, Scott, so I need to get some more press releases on your site. But yeah, he's done a good job just to get the information out there, and he's been very fair, excellent journalist with quite a journalist history, and it's a good source, waterlandblog.com. And that'll give you a lot of updates of current things, especially what's been happening at the most recent council meetings. That's a good way to get some bullet points of what's going on at City Hall. Thank you.
Wow, great job. There's not much more I can add. Waterlandblog.com. Scott Schaefer does a good job. Thank you.
Considering that was a pointed question, that's the answer. It is all Scott, waterlandblog.com. Check it out.
Okay, next question from the audience. Okay, on my right, about 5th row back.
Hi, my name is Katie Radelich, and I would like to know what your stance is on the hotel and the marina. Personally, that would be taking away the parking lot for my family to go enjoy the marina and the concerts in the park and the fishing and quarter deck. Also, you've already addressed that we can't even keep restaurants, so what are we going to do with these people who come stay at the hotel if we have nothing in the city to offer them? Thank you.
Okay, we'll start with Mr. Harris.
Yeah, I was, you know, just, I don't even know where to begin. I have been against the hotel in North parking lot thing since, you know, before it was even proposed, believe it or not. So the thing about it is that it was a complete surprise to at least some members on the council. That's the worst part of it, okay? 3 years ago, I proposed that the city put up a special website to educate the public as to what the planning would be on marina redevelopment. And we never spent the money. I mean, we budgeted it, but we never spent the money. And the planning changes so many times that I don't even recognize it anymore. Thank you.
So I confirmed this information with our former harbor master before I speak to this. There was misinformation that floated. My opponent brought that information out and it got everybody in a panic. The pier that's at our marina was built in 1980, and that was built with, it's called RCO funding, Recreation and Conservation Office grant funding. And that grant funding specifically states that that north parking lot cannot be built on. It's for the use of the pier. Now, as far as any idea of a hotel elsewhere, the big question mark is a lot of the land where the marina sits was acquired through eminent domain, and that restricts. You can't just turn around and let a private developer do that. So yes, the idea of the hotel has been floated. Some of that was a little bit of a surprise to me, but there was misinformation that a hotel could even be built on the north parking lot, and that's from the former harbor master. I had a long conversation with him, so that was not even a possibility. So I'm sorry for those of you that thought that that could have happened. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Yes, that was brought up in council. It was talked about in Municipal Facilities Committee and in the Economic Development Committee. The possibility of anything being built in the north bulkhead is next to impossible. Conventional construction cannot happen there. It's all fill. It's cost prohibitive for anybody to build on the north parking lot. Yes, we did pass the okay for the $25 million for the bonds, for the connectivity from downtown to the marina, but as far as any public funds going to any kind of construction, it's not going to happen. Thank you.
Okay, so this is one that I like. When they were going to put the hotel in Lot A, they couldn't put the hotel the way that the developer wanted it. It would have jutted out over the gas tanks. And so that person pulled out. And then it was rumored that, well, maybe we could do it over there. And they're like, okay, well, the north parking lot is owned by the city, so it is possible. Okay, every 17 feet, it has those bulkhead posts. They actually anchor them in, so that we have the bulkheads there. They couldn't do it, and yeah, it was always against that ordinance, that special rule. So I'm wondering, was it brought up because it was actually a thought, or is it look at my left hand, not my right?
Thank you, I appreciate the question. I do believe that the marina, meaning the one here in central Des Moines, is our gem, and it's a public gem. It's one that we can all enjoy, whether it's a leisurely walk, whether you fish there, whether you do boating there, whether you go to the park for events and things like that. And I believe that placing a hotel in the north parking lot would basically move towards privatization, giving away our public space to folks, and it no longer being an amenity to everyone in the residents of Des Moines. And so I am not a proponent. I do believe that the marina needs to be leveraged in some way in order to be an economic engine for our city, but it's the right way. And looking for what kind of partnerships we can form, what kind of interest we can develop in order to make sure that we have buy-in from the many residents who live there and the folks who recreate there as well.
Okay, next question from the audience. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to offer a rebuttal. My bad.
So, I'm sure some of you were at that September meeting at the community center, right? Okay? I videotaped it, and remember what I said about I'd go to meetings, and I'd go, well, you know, it's not exactly true. It's on video that they have a hotel proposal in the north parking lot. There's no misinformation, okay? This is the thing where it's embarrassing me to say you're lying, okay? But it just happens chronically. And I try to be polite, you know, and like just try to work around it. But they proposed a hotel in the north parking lot when the original developer was supposed to do it in the back, okay? And that's why you can't trust any of this stuff. And by the way, the original developer is in court in Tacoma for not paying their SEPA bills, okay? Millions.
Okay, time.
Thanks.
Any further rebuttals?
Yeah, clarify a little bit too. So the notion of public-private partnerships, there's a lot of ways where they can work. So there was overwhelming support of creating what we call harbor steps. From 223rd, instead of going down the steep Cliff Avenue, to create an ADA compliant, easy, wheelchair-friendly, switchback ramp system and some steps with a beautiful water feature, some planting things. It was going to be expensive to do that, so the idea of a public-private partnership was floated that maybe a developer could build that for us and save the city money. Well, developers, they want to do stuff that can make them money too, so they were the ones that were proposing ideas but there's no way that something could actually be built on that north parking lot. Thank you.
Any further rebuttals?
And by the way, the city got their own bond funding to pay for the harbor steps themselves. Thank you.
Okay. Any further rebuttals? Okay, I believe we have time for one more question from the audience, and then we'll go on to closing statements. Okay, there's a question in the first row to my right. And I apologize for not being able to get to every question, but we do have time limits.
Well, first of all, I want to thank the City Council for the opportunity I've had to live here in Des Moines for 53 years. It seems like 150. Sorry. I have been involved in the Chamber of Commerce here and president many times of the North Hill Community Club. I've had a small business here as a music educator, and I just want to comment that I raised my own girls here, and they went on to get their master's degrees and did very well, having been raised in this community. Now I have 3 grandchildren going to school here in Des Moines. I'm particularly...
Ma'am, what is your name and what is the question?
The question is, I'd like to know what is in Rob Back's background, hobbies, interests, talents, sports, that enables him to support our Highline Community College and Mount Rainier High School and all the cultural events that we have, the summer parade. Thank you.
What is your name?
Gwendolyn Kosh.
Okay, we'll start with Mr. Nutting.
Well, I really can't answer that. I don't know what's in Rob's background other than he was an umpire, so I'll pass the mic, thanks. Everybody's got to answer.
Don't know what's in his back, anything. In case you were wondering why I keep bringing up the governor and the stuff that is being translated, it's because I helped push for that. And that's also stuff I'm going to do with you.
Thank you, and thank you for your support and continued involvement in Des Moines. I'll go ahead and pass that to Mr. Back.
I think Rob sings and has been an umpire.
Okay, so I got lots I could say. I think they're deferring all their time to me, so I want 5 minutes. So I did serve on the board of directors with the Association of Washington Cities. It's the first time that a Des Moines council member ever made it to that board. It's also the first time that that group ever elected somebody to the board that was in their first term of office. So I was proud of that accomplishment while I served as your council member. Yeah, I've got an interesting background. I love woodworking. I know Wesley has a woodworking shop. I'm going to fit in really well here when I move here. I like to read a lot of books. Yes, I was a certified baseball umpire. I stopped doing that after COVID. I went through 9 months of schooling. And when you're an umpire, you stand behind the plate, and it's either ball or strike. You're either safe or you're out, and I got to make the call, and I'm stuck with my own judgment what that decision needs to be. So it doesn't matter what the coaches, players, or fans think, I had to make the call. Lastly, yes, I am a singer. I took 6 years of vocal training. I've done solos, singing weddings, duets, quartets. I'm a baritone bass, and a lot of recordings. But you know what? I'm not running for the Grammy Awards here. I'm running for City Council. So I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Please hold your applause till the end.
Please no rebuttals. Thank you.
Any rebuttals? Okay.
So here's the thing. I raised my kids here, and the schools were an order of magnitude better 25 years ago. Okay? We were like in the top decile, top 10%. And now we're in the bottom 10%. It's no joke. Okay? So there's a certain nostalgia that I share for how great things were. And, but I don't spend a lot of time going on about how great things were. I want to do material things to make this as good or, hopefully better for that next generation, rather than just saying, oh yeah, that's just life in 2023. Thank you.
Okay, thank you again, everyone. Let's give a round of applause to our candidates. And before we close, are there candidates for other offices in the audience this evening? Okay, yes, would you please stand and identify yourself and tell us what you're running for?
Yes, my name is Gene Oxiger, and I'm running to retain my seat on the Pool Commission.
Okay, let's see, our volunteer is coming back to get you on the microphone.
Okay, my name is Gene Oxiger, and I'm a current city council member, and I'm also a pool commissioner. It's one of the rare situations where elected people are allowed to hold two particular offices. It's state statutory law that says so, and I'll be on the ballot in November. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I'm Melissa Petrini. I'm running for Highline School Board, position number 4. I'm a mom of 6 kids, resident of Seattle of 6 years, and highly involved in my kids' education, and I hope I can count on your vote November 7th.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Asia Pagos, and I'm currently a school board director for Highline Public Schools. I am also an educator. I'm a school counselor, master's in education, and I've been doing that for over a decade. I'm also a resident of Des Moines, a very proud resident of Des Moines for 16 years, raising my young family of a 3-year-old and an 8-year-old who are very happy. We've got some work to do. I'll agree to that. But this is what I'm here for, and I'm on the ballot in November.
Okay, thank you. Thanks once again to our timers, and many thanks to our videographer, Tim Ryan. And if the members of the audience wish to talk to the candidates directly, and if the candidates are willing to stay, I would invite you to have a personal conversation. And again, thank you for coming out on this rainy night, and remember to cast your vote in a timely manner and get it in the mail in a timely manner. Thank you.